My name is Frank. Welcome to Vinyl Dens on channel 33 RPM, where we check out cool music rooms from across the vinyl community and around the world. Let's get at it. All right. Well, this first submission comes from Tom Q Public. And Tom writes, well, Tom is 49 years old. He is from Eugene, Oregon. I always mess that up. I said Oregon before, and you guys corrected me. The funny thing with doing these videos, you see words on paper all your life, and you finally have to pronounce them. It's like, I don't know how to pronounce that. Oregon? Oregon. Is that right? Like in Oregon? Like, I don't know. Let me know in the comments. Anyway, Tom says he has his own YouTube channel called Tom Q Public. He's been collecting since he was about 17 years old. He says, we have a rather small house, so my bedroom/office suite also serves as my music room. He says his CD collection is hovering near the 3,000 mark, and several years ago, while he was hurting for space, his handyman brother took the standard depth oak bookcases he was using, cut them in half depth-wise, put backs on them or finishing trim as needed, and doubled his shelf space almost overnight. He says, as you can see, I've got homemade alphabetical dividers. He says his vinyl collection is fairly modest, but it has started growing quickly over the last few years. In terms of gear, Tom's got a Marantz TT42 turntable, a Yamaha C600 5-disc carousel, Yamaha RX A760 receiver, and a pair of very nice ELAC, I believe is how you say it, ELAC Debut B-Series speakers. Now this is really cool. Check this out. He says two of his most prized possessions in his music room are fixtures from a beloved Eugene record store, Skip's Records and CD World, which closed last August. He says he was able to score one of the throw rugs from the front door, and also his brother surprised him for his birthday a few months later by giving him one of the CD listening stations the store was selling off. It's complete with a still working 12-disc Pioneer CD changer and headphones. He says he misses the store but gets a lot of comfort knowing that small pieces of it live in his home. I like the way the room is divided too. He's got like CDs over here and the dividers. Looks well organized. And that wall of CDs. I've been seeing in these videos many people with walls of CDs. And because we often focus on vinyl, but many of us grew up with CDs. I remember in high school getting my first CD player, and it's really cool to see that really living on. There's one other thing I wanted to check out here. It was in the last few videos I've seen this, where people put up a screenshot of channel 33 RPM, and I still do get a kick out of that because it speaks to the global reach of this channel, which still boggles my mind and is absolutely crazy. Anyway, Tom, dig the music room. Congrats on picking up those cool items from one of your favorite record stores, and hope you enjoy it. This next one comes from viewer Ray Ramirez, and Ray says, hey, my name is Ray. I'm in Houston, Texas, USA. He says his music room was supposed to be the dining room in his apartment, but I feel I put it to much better use. My wife may disagree, Ray, but I certainly do agree with you. It looks fantastic. He says he's been collecting records since 1993 and has amassed close to 2,000 12-inch records, about 500 7-inch records, and 1,000 CDs, an assortment of 10 inches, cassettes, 8 tracks, and even a few 3-inch records. Some of his favorite bands are The Doors, The Beatles, and Nirvana, so you can see why they get such prominent display. Let's take a close look at this. I mean, again, it's a confined space and speaks to the fact that we can really make the best use out of whatever space we're given. Like my music room is 10 by 10, and I feel I've made the best use of it that I can. Some people have entire basements, some people don't, so you got to work with what you have, and he's certainly done that. I love the record display. You can kind of flip through those records, and I love the records on the floor, the mats, and the cassette. Looks great. And again, he talked about his love for the Beatles. He certainly has a lot of Beatles stuff on display there, from the Hot Wheels cars to various other pieces of merchandise. And again, beautiful, beautiful wall of records, some doors, paraphernalia, memorabilia, and I absolutely dig it. Ray, great use of your dining room space. What else do we have here? This next one is from Greg Young, who lives in the Chicago, USA area. He's 56 years old. In terms of gear, he's got a Harman Kardon amp and EQ. He bought both of those back in 82, 83. And a Tascam CD A500. This is unique. It's a combo CD/tape player. That was his dad's. He says his wife bought him the Audio-Technica AT-LP120 USB turntable, which is by far one of the more popular turntables in the vinyl community. He says he got it for his birthday about 3 years ago. He upgraded the cartridge to the Ortofon 2M Red. Again, a real workhorse cartridge. Extremely popular in the vinyl community. If anyone has the Red, when the time comes, I would recommend spending a couple $100 and getting the upgrade to the blue. The stylus is interchangeable with the red, so you can keep your red cartridge, but throw a blue stylus on there. It does make a sound difference, but 2M red is also fine. What else does Greg tell us here? Aha, okay, this is what caught my eye. He says his wife bought a 1960s cabinet and painted it, and he painted it like Eddie Van Halen's Frankenstein guitar. It has storage underneath and the equipment sits on top. He says he built the record storage next to the cabinet and painted it like Eddie's guitar from the second album. Greg also says there's a wall where friends are encouraged to write a lyric that means something special to them. And he currently has 420 albums. I want to go back to that one shot of the Van Halen stuff. I mean, how cool is that? Especially if you're a Van Halen fan. Love the writing on the wall too, got music. And like me, he uses one of those picture ledges above his cabinets to display records. I see Steve Vai's Flexible, I think some UFO, Beth Hart and Joe Bonamassa, I believe, Iron Maiden. Great stuff, man. Great room, Greg. Love the Van Halen aspect to it.
Channel 33, RPM.
Check this one out. This one comes from Alan across the pond, as they say in England. He lives in Durham with his wife, Jillian. He says his room has 2 record players, a Michelle Girodek. I'm not familiar with this one. I might be butchering that pronunciation, but he says that is an English manufacturer. And he also has a Clear Audio Concept, which is German. He has a tube box DS2 preamp that switches between both record players. He has a Cambridge Audio integrated amp and a Cambridge Audio pre and power amp. And he's got some more cool gear there as well. But I want to take a closer look at some of these pictures. I just love the simplicity of this room. Like, we've seen rooms that are small, and there's a lot of stuff packed in, and we've seen large rooms. But this room, I kind of look at it, it's kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? It's soothing, it's relaxing, it's not in my face. And I kind of really like that sort of chilled, relaxed sensibility. The other thing I like is the way he has his gear on these floating shelves beneath his window. I thought that is a really great way to store it, to display it, and to isolate the gear as well. And of course, he's got really some top-notch gear, so I absolutely dig that. And the black and white paintings on the wall are a nice added touch. So yes, this is very cool. Alan from England, thanks so much. Now we're moving this way to the Netherlands, and we got this submission from Raymond Gerrits. He lives in the Netherlands, as I said, near Amsterdam. He says he's a vinyl fan since the age of 6. I'm not sure how old he is now, but I'm assuming this is quite a while. Okay, since the age of 6 when Elvis left the building. So Elvis passed away in, 78? Anyway, the late 70s. So Raymond and I are similar in age. What else does he say about his collection? He's got 1,400 records, 1,100 singles, some 8-tracks, shellacks, and other stuff. He has a bunch of Elvis originals. He's into Hendrix, old school, hip-hop, jazz, blues, classical, 80s, 70s, 60s, Maiden, and soundtracks. Everything, he says, is sleeved in Blake sleeves. Plastic inner sleeves and separated from the cover. Most is in VG Plus or near mint. This is something I've been trying to pursue too in my younger days. I was less picky. I would accept VG, but nowadays, if I'm going to bring something in my collection, it's got to be at least VG plus. I know some record collectors claim to like the Snap, Crackle, and Pop of vinyl. I don't. Less Snap, Crackle, and Pop, the better. This is neat. He owns a rock-solid Rockola 442 jukebox from 1969 and an HMV 78 player from the 20s. This is awesome. This is not stuff that we see often anymore, particularly in this condition. This looks like it's in really remarkable shape. It says he also has a Technics SL 1900 from 1977 with a Nagaoka MP150 cartridge. I have the 110. Nagaoka, completely, I'm going to say underrated. I mean, they are much loved, but I don't hear a heck of a lot about them. The 110 I really dig. I love to try out the MP150 someday. It says he's got a Zero Stat there behind his record player. Another great piece of gear, and I have a Zero Stat, and people say, does it actually work? It totally works. I mean, this design has been around for decades now, and it really eliminates static from your records. It's not cheap. I think I paid $100 for mine, but it works. Love the room, man. Love it. Before you go, and I will leave these details in the description below this video, but if you're interested in submitting your record room for consideration on a future episode of Vinyl Dens, please do email me at channel33rpm@gmail.com. Include 5, 6, 7, 8 high quality photos of your music room. They don't have to be huge in terms of megabytes and pixels or whatever, but just make sure they're bright, make sure they're well lit and everything's in focus. Tell me a bit about yourself, where you live, your age, a bit about your gear and your collection, and any other interesting anecdotes do you think the Channel 33 RPM community would like to hear. And I look forward to hearing from you.